We should be live. BYU takes down North Carolina 78-76. That was some fun basketball. Okay, yep, it is up. It is live. You can see me on there. I hope everything is good to go. Okay, perfect. All right, we will start this in about 30 seconds. Oh, man, that was a fun game. That was also ugly. We'll get into everything. I have a ton of notes on this game tonight. Very excited to get into it. We just got to get the YouTube ready to roll. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is going to be a fun show. It's a solo show. Chase went to the game today, so maybe he might zoom in. I doubt it. We'll see. Either way, regardless, a lot to talk about. Very excited. Very, very excited. All right, YouTube should be bumping and rolling. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, fellas. Everybody get in the chat right now. I will get the chat pulled up right away. This is going to be a fun show. This is going to be such a fun show. All right, on. There we go. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Boom, boom. What's going on here? Okay, hold up. We're having some technical difficulties. Okay. Okay, I don't know what's going on, but we'll get that fixed later. Why is this? Okay. Here we go. Shout out everybody in the chat. Let's go. Let's go. We'll get things rocking and rolling in just a minute. We're having some difficulties here on YouTube. YouTube's being silly. I don't know what's going on. Let's refresh this. Make sure I'm clicking things like 10 times. All right. I think we're ready to roll. Let's do this thing. Let's go. Come on, fellas. This was a fun game. I think we're ready to rock and roll. Let's just hit a little retweet on this. All right, I'll get the Twitter chat pulled up too. Everybody's welcome. No discriminating here. What up? Shout out Nolan Mickelson in the Twitter chat. All right, let's do this thing for the podcast. Cut right here. 3, 2, 1. We're live recording this right now. We're not recording. We're just actually live with the fellas in the chat. It's a solo pod from me today. Chase is at the game. He's leaving the Delta Center. Who knows what he's doing? Don't care. Probably had a fantastic time of the game. Maybe he'll zoom in. Maybe he won't. Doesn't matter. We're here to talk BYU, North Carolina. BYU wins 78-76 in BYU's preseason finale. Carolina's preseason opener. And there is a lot to get to in this game. We're going to get to the chat. We're going to get to all your questions, all your takes. We're going to be here for a minute, fellas. Let's get right into it. I want to start off in this one. Look, the way the game ended, missed free throws and everything, it ended up turning into Keba Keita had to make a game-saving block at the end. That was awesome. Keba Keita just showing once again why he is just such a great center to have. His athletic ability was shown so much in this game. I want to start here. Rob Wright was the difference in this game. Rob Wright is going to be the engine that takes BYU to new heights, takes BYU to have even the potential of going to the national championship, because you watch this game and you see the minutes with Rob Wright and without Rob Wright. And let's just call it like it is. The minutes without Rob Wright were just not great. They just weren't. And I'm pulling up the stats here to back this up. Plus minus, Chase and I talk about it all the time. It can be a flawed stat. It can be a lot of confirmation bias. I like to use it if it backs up the eye test. And did it back up the eye test tonight? Rob Wright, plus 17 tonight in a 2-point victory. You look at everybody else on the stat sheet tonight. The next best player was Richie Saunders at plus 7. Rob Wright is this BYU basketball team. This team goes through him. Yes, AJ DeBansa is insanely talented, is going to be a top 3 pick. Individually, was the best player on this team. Yes, Richie Saunders was picked to be a potential All-American and preseason All Big 12 and all these honors and everything. But in college basketball, point guards is what matters, and Rob Wright is what matters to this team. Nolan Mickelson's already in the chat saying Rob the difference right. I think we leave that for Yegor. We'll get those worked on. I got a ton of notes to get to, but I want to hop into the chat and talk to you guys as well in here. Alex Beach, we're alive. Shout out Grant in the chat. Let's go. Grant said the length and athleticism of this year's team is going to be a movie. Absolutely agree. I mean, last year it was a revelation from past BYU teams, and you go, what are we seeing here? And then it just doubled and it compounded on itself because this team is so athletic. It feels like everybody can jump out of the gym and are 6'7" freak athletes and can fly all over the place. This is not the same BYU team that most of us BYU fans are used to. Christopher Jensen in the chat, shout out. He said, shot terribly and still led most of the game. The ceiling on this team is so high. I 100% agree. Great comment, because the issue when I was watching this game, and you guys know, you guys listened to the preview probably, I'm not the biggest fan of North Carolina, but let's throw biases aside. There's a lot of things I do want to get to in North Carolina tonight that did impress me, and a lot of things that I was a little nervous about. And, you know, I think after tonight, I'm actually a little bit higher on North Carolina than previously. But the issue is, I thought BYU should have pulled away more at times. And there was just such a long, not a long stretch. It was the entire game where nobody could, neither team could really put two possessions together. Nobody could string together, you know, a 9-0 run or a 10-0 run really quickly like that. Everything was getting stopped. Maybe that's credit to defenses. But also, I think the reason everyone shot so terribly in this game is because of that NBA line. You play in an NBA arena, one, your depth perception is already going to be off a little bit, especially when you've been playing in a practice arena nonstop. I mean, Carolina's arena is close to a NBA size arena and everything, and the way it's shaped out and everything. But the NBA line throws you off so much when you're on the court, because you're sitting there, you watch tonight, everybody was taking NBA threes tonight. I want to know how many college threes were taken tonight, because it had to be less than 4. And meanwhile, in this game, the teams went, a combined, I can't do math off the top of my head, but it looks like 9 for 44 from 3, 4-19 from Carolina, 5 of 25 from BYU. Somebody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's awful. And all of them were 2-3 feet beyond the arc, which they didn't need to be. And then Moo Davis hits that big clutch 3 in the corner, because it's a corner 3. It's about the same thing as college NBA. Can't really move it much further back. Everybody was just taking longer threes tonight because of that college line. That's something to note going forward when BYU has to play in TD Garden against Yukon, and then also MSG against Clemson for the Jimmy V Classic. Something to note there. Shout out Koei J. I can't pronounce this, but he said at least UNC has their football team to look forward to. Yeah, man, it's not a good football team over there. Shout out Bill Belichick. Shout out our guy Connor Sparrow, friend of the program. They got to play Virginia tomorrow. Maybe they'll pull off an upset. Who knows? Eli Bond in the chat. It should be illegal for Blaine Fowler to commentate. No comment here. Eli Wynn said, I love Rob Wright with all my heart. I tweeted this out during the game. I've said it over and over all offseason. I could not hype up Rob Wright enough, and how important he is going to be to this team, and how much they need him, and how it's just how good he fits, how well he fits in the system with Kevin Young. My Rob Wright stock is going to be the reason I retire in my 20s. I mean, I talked about it like with my financial advisor. It's just, hey, we can't afford to buy more Rob Wright stock. You've used everything in your accounts to get more Rob Wright stock. I will sell a kidney if I have to get more Rob Wright stock. It's just going to go up and up and up and up and up from here. Terrence L. Spain in the chat. UNC shot bad too and was missing star sniper Luka Bogovac, the sniper. UNC for life, free Luka. What is the NCAA doing here? Let's stop with this crap. Just clear him to play. I was pissed off we didn't get to see him play tonight, if we're going to be honest. I was excited to see Luka play, because he's going to be the engine with this Carolina team. Because also UNC, yeah, you're right, they shot terribly tonight. They needed some more floor spacers tonight, because Caleb Wilson, you don't necessarily trust him with the outside shot. A lot to like about Caleb Wilson, by the way, for Tar Heel fans listening to this. We'll get into that later. But Evans couldn't really get into a rhythm, find his groove. He wasn't shooting the ball too well. Seth Trimble, you're not obviously comfortable with his outside shot. Visar can stretch the floor, but once again, you're not super comfortable. Jaren Stevenson, I thought had some good moments in this game tonight as well. But we'll talk about Carolina a little bit later. Continuing with the chat right now, Grant in the chat, Rob Wright is unbelievable, and people are too tough on Moo Davis. He is special and needs time to gel. I love how he responded in that second half. He was playing much more lockdown defense and getting much more involved, wreaking havoc for Carolina at times. Things are going to be fine. Take time. We'll get into the notes here in a second. I have some notes on that as well. More chats. Rob Wright looking like Kyrie. That handle's tight, man. That he's so quick, and that handle. I mean, if I'm a defender, like I'm just shaking in my boots if Rob Wright's getting into that little in and out dribble right there. Alex Beach, choose the right. If you know, you know. Yeah, that's going to be a t-shirt here soon. You might want to get a trademark on that, Alex. Rob played great defense too. Yes, he did. Jack Carpenter. Rob is right. If Jack Carpenter, shout out. Carter is right. If I shot my half-court shot in an NBA court, I would have made it. 100% agreed. No doubt. Boop is going to be a big addition. Yeah, I got some in Boop notes. I want to finish these chats and we'll get into these notes. The BYU practice gym has multiple lines, so KY never lets that be an excuse, but I hate making players play with the double line. 100%. It's just because in a game, you're naturally going to want to be behind the line, and it just throws you off so much. And even if you do practice with that, it's still going to throw you off in games because all these college guys, you're just naturally inclined to take those threes. But you're going to see a lot more worse shooting percentages when you see those double lines in there. It's a big thing. Terrence, he got cleared by NCAA. Now it's something with the UNC administration to get him cleared. Shaking my head. And BYU will win the Big 12. Love that, Terrence. Love your second comment. And also love that he's actually cleared. I would thought it was something with the NCAA. UNC administration. Look, man. I mean, UNC's cleared some other players before. We're doing with Luke. Get him in the door. You already paid a lot of money for him. Yeah. I have some thoughts on UNC. Honestly, they're going to be a lot more positive than people would think, to be honest. Jonathan Dancy said, dang, no UNC love. People were acting like they'd get blown out and like we sucked. I got some UNC thoughts. Let's get there. Let's hop in the notes right now. Let's dive right in. I want to start off with let's start off with BYU real quick. I thought it was nice to see Kevin Young running real rotations tonight. They mentioned that multiple times on the broadcast. I think we needed to see that. Because it was a little disappointing watching the Nebraska game, and obviously they treated that very much like an exhibition. And tonight, I felt like they treated it like an actual real college basketball game, which was pleasing to see. But some ugliness on the floor. And also, there's going to be a lot more. They need some more time to gel. They're going to have to play a lot of games together. It's going to take time. I think you might freak out watching this team where it goes, it's herky-jerky, and the offense doesn't flow too well. It's just going to take time. So many of these pieces are new. And the thing about this herky-jerky offense that needs to get smoothed out is Richie Saunders is playing this weird position right now where he doesn't have the ball in his hands nowhere near as much as he had last year, which at first we all thought might be a good thing because then it's going to lead to him having more open shots, catch and shoot opportunities, which he's great at catch and shoot 3-point shots. But then it's turned into it's kind of tough for him to get a rhythm in this sort of offense right now. And we saw it later on. They tried to, swing the ball a little more, get some motion for him, just get his hands on the ball. Because when you're playing basketball and you're just sitting in the corner like that a little bit while everybody else is kind of running a little two-man game, it's impossible to get in a rhythm. And I think that's part of the reasons we've seen Richie struggle a little bit early on in these preseason games. But we'll see if that's fixed in the regular season. And I think that's not going to be an issue long-term. Just take some time for these guys to gel and develop and build some chemistry together, especially in live game action. Practices, those things can be easy to smooth out, but until you play together in a live game, that's going to be tough, and that's going to take some time, and that's okay. That's 100% okay. I had so many notes about Rob Wright in the chat, or Rob Wright in my notebook. I mean, this guy, man, he's fantastic. I can't say enough good things about him. His ability to penetrate and put the defense on their heels, and then his vision too. And sometimes I feel like he's a little too unselfish, and he wasn't super efficient shooting the ball tonight. I think that's going to change too, and he's a great shooter, and we'll see that going forward. But defensively, I thought there were a lot of issues defensively. It felt like some points in the game, Carolina would set one basic screen, And then BYU, just there's such a lack of communication on the defensive end at times where Carolina could just easily penetrate. And especially, I think it was on the Caleb Wilson dunk where Boop got a screen on him. And then Caleb Wilson just walks in for a dunk. It was just plays like that tonight that were kind of concerning. There's still some defensive things, definitely better than the Nebraska game, but that's something to keep an eye on. We'll talk about that later as well. The other thing was that I talked about this at the beginning of the show, but the non-Rob Wright minutes, it's tough. We don't get to see Nate Pickens yet because I think that's going to be huge for this team. They need Nate Pickens to run this secondary unit because there's no one really that I feel comfortable bringing the ball up. Kosich is fine. AJ, when he brings the ball up, it turns into a little too much, hey, AJ, ISO ball, hero ball, save us, which is not BYU's best offense and is not going to work in college basketball. A play here, a play there that might work, but consistently that's never going to work. So moving on, tough for Richie to find his rhythm, and 35 scouts of 21 different NBA teams tonight. That's just going to be the norm with a lot of BYU games this season. Just continue to hear that on every broadcast. Some good defense by Boscovich tonight, I thought. And Boop, he was playing he was, I love his energy. But all right, yeah, that's a quick rundown on the notes. We'll get into more stuff later. I also have some UNC thoughts here in a minute, but I want to get back to the chat real quick because the chat's popping off right now. Shout out Chase Rogers. Chase said, I am president of Rob Wright Island. Okay, well, timeout. Everybody who's listening to this pod knows I have been Rob Wright #1 guy since even his time at Baylor. We all know this, but I'm not gatekeeping it, but I think I was #1 guy. Going back to the chat real quick, I got to scroll up here. We got some chats, and thank you guys for tuning in. This is awesome. Let's have some fun tonight. Jonathan Dancy. We also didn't have Luca yet. We talked about that. Eli Wynn. Should we be concerned with Richie and his shot diet? I talked about that just briefly, but I think I think more shots will come. I just think he needs to have the ball in his hands a little bit more to find that rhythm. And then once he gets going, you know how Richie Saunders is, then he's just a flamethrower. So finding that rhythm, finding this chemistry within the offense, because a guy like Moo Davis, too, I feel like he's been struggling to find a rhythm, too. Guys like Rob Wright and AJ, it looks easier for them because they're much better one-on-one players, so it's going to be easier for them. So I'm not worried yet. Let's wait till the regular season. Let's wait for some of the bigger games, and then we can convene on that one. Terrence in the chat, Big 12, 2-0 over my ACC, BYU over UNC, Kansas over Louisville. Hats off to the Big 12. Those Darren Peterson looked nice tonight. He looked really good tonight. These freshmen are freaking good, man. UNC looks much better than last year. They'll be good when they develop too. Yeah, they looked much more controlled. They looked like last year I felt like at times it was just free flowing, RJ Davis, please bail us out at times. And it looked like there was a lot more it's tough with this UNC team because there's parts of this offense I didn't necessarily love tonight, but I also think that's kind of coming from the point guard play, which I don't necessarily love from the Tar Heels this season. But also having actual size on this team this year makes a huge difference. Like, no offense to Jalen Washington, but the difference between Washington and V-Star was jarring tonight, to be honest. So we'll get into UNC again later, like I said. Chase. Rob Wright. Whoa. Oh, now you want to hop in. Where are you coming from right now?
I'm coming from the Delta Center, man. Hold on a sec. Let me set it up a little bit here.
Yeah, you got. Hey, turn off you're on your phone. Turn off the lock thing. You're still vertical. Yeah, you're this guy. He doesn't know. We got freaking old man. We got Mr. Rogers trying to work a phone over here. I'm gonna keep running through the chat while you figure out how to use a phone, Chase. We got Nathan Hot takes in the chat. Our 4s and 5s have been playing against each other in practice too much. On defense, they crash into each other when they're out together. That's something I need to watch the film back on. I can't remember enough to touch on that one yet. Oh, Chase is already gone. He's just Brutal stuff from Chase. If you're watching live on the show, Terrence, UNC for life. God favor this season to both of my Tar Heels and BYU. Oh, BYU Tar Heel fan. All right, man. I can respect that. The UNC big guy played great. Yes, he did. Shout out Arizona. Chase, what is going on here? I'm hearing myself left and right on here.
I'm on my phone, man. Give me a break.
Chase.
It's a 16 Pro. It's not like I'm not pulling up on an Android
Chase,
here.
You got to stay vertical, man. It's not going to work.
I don't have the lock on. I'll stay vertical though.
Oh, this guy, man, rookie stuff here. How was the Delta Center tonight?
Hey,
How was the environment? How was everything?
I had to show up for the people, man. It was good. It was fun. It was not as many people as I thought. I think people were saying on Twitter, and I absolutely agree. I think Alex Beach, our guy, was saying, they just priced out the fans, Carter. They priced them out.
Yeah, I don't know. So I saw some tweets saying like it wasn't BYU who set the pricing. Sometimes it can be these third-party, these whatever firms. I don't know how this crap actually works. Whoever did the pricing of this BYU game, shame on you, because that was pathetic that you charge $90 for a preseason game in a 20,000-seat NBA arena. Shame on you. That place should have been filled to the top. Should have been $20 tickets. They should have been giving out T-shirts at the game too on top of that. Insane stuff. $94 for an upper bowl seat to a preseason game. Get out of here with that. What are you doing?
Yeah, it was sad to see, like, the lower bowl, maybe like 65% of it was filled, and and barely touched anything in the upper. I look, and I get it. It's an exhibition game, doesn't count. I know people wanted to see this team and go to this game. They were charging students $20. Students with rock passes, $20, Carter. So
get out of here.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. There's not as many people as I think there could have been if the pricing was fair, but whatever. It was still like a really good environment, especially towards the end. It felt really like a real game. I mean, people were getting super loud, standing up, and I think both coaches also treated it like a real game. Like they played their ones, man, and they were going offense, defense. There was a lot of strategies, some out of timeout sets called that. It was different from last week. This is UNC's first, but I think they also, they knew that the gravity, kind of just a little bit more eyes, a little bit more into this. So the arena felt that too. It was a good environment. It could have been better for sure, but it was still good.
Yeah, I kind of want to touch on UNC for a second. Caleb Wilson really impressed me tonight, and the jump shots and his shooting, that's gonna come. The way he played, man. I don't know how you felt that you were close to, you were low in the lower bowl, close to the game. Could you see how much, I felt like he was all over the place tonight, how hard he was playing and involved in everything, and his athletic ability, his strength. Like, I was thoroughly impressed with Caleb Wilson from Carolina tonight.
Yeah, he was very good. He's a man's man. Seeing him up close, I mean, like, at that age, and he can just jump out of the gym. It's so quick too. I mean, he's a specimen, an absolute freak. I was super impressed too with his finishing, like just tough finishes at the rim. Him and Visar both. I was like, how did they make that? I thought, for the most part, BYU defended pretty well in those one-on-one moments. And I heard you talking about some of the thoughts that we both share about the screens, whatever. But in these like one-on-one moments, I didn't see them getting burned, but I saw some men like just finishing at the rim. Caleb Wilson was one of those, man. He was tough. I think UNC's front court is one of the best BYU will see all season. I mean, those two guys, they played like almost the entire game, and they were just hitting every shot they took down there. I mean, tough buckets from those guys.
Yeah, that was the other thing, is just like I felt like every Carolina bucket was kind of I know I said I had issues with some of the BYU defensive schemes and everything, and the missed slabs. We'll get into that later, but also like some of their it was just grinding into the basket. Like, I would love to see UNC's shot chart, because I felt like it was all within 5 feet.
Yeah, that's the only way they could score. They are not shooters on that team, man. I mean,
well, they didn't have Bogovac tonight. They didn't have Luka, so that doesn't help. But I thought I would see a little bit more out of Evans, to be honest, for UNC. But both teams shot terribly tonight. BYU 5 of 25, and then Carolina 4 of 19. I said it earlier. I don't know if you're listening, but the NBA threes is a problem, Chase. The double lines. Kevin Young's got to drill this into these guys. Hey, man, you can step over it. Get over that mental note in your head because you've played basketball. You know when you've stepped over the line, over the three-point line when you're taking a shot. And that messes up your brain if you're taking a long two. It just does.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's natural. And look, it's 2 or 3 feet, but like everything was short tonight for both teams. And the depth perception of a big arena also like trips people out. I know playing in these NBA spaces. So yeah, awful shooting night. We'll go ahead and chalk that up for both teams to the court.
Whoa. Carter's anti-UNC talk drive you away. I've got positive things to say on the Tar Heels. I've got positive stuff on the Tar Heels tonight. It's all good. Shout out Neil in the chat. UNC looked really good. They got a center from Arizona. Cougs were good in there. Yeah, I thought Visar was solid in this game. I thought that was a fun matchup between him and Keita. We saw that twice last season. They split the series in the regular season between BYU and Arizona. But no, Carolina, it just stinks we didn't get to see maybe their best player play. And that's why I don't want to go all in on my Carolina takes quite yet. I need to pause. But yeah, Visar, Caleb Wilson, Stevenson, I thought they were solid tonight. Trimble was kind of in control and was able to calm things down for Carolina at times. You can see that as an upperclassman. But I think the point guard position is going to be the downfall of the Carolina Tar Heels this season because when things are going to get rough, you have to have a point guard. And that was honestly the difference tonight was Rob Wright versus Carolina's point guard, whether that was Evans or at times Trimble or Dixon. Like, that was the difference. And Chase, once again, Rob Wright plus 17 on the plus minus.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness. Great. 17 in a game they won by 2? Get out of here. Oh, yeah. I can't wait to cash out the Rob Wright stock. Actually, I don't think I ever will. I'll just hold on to
mean, hopefully, I mean, I feel like the cash out would be in Indianapolis, but we'll see, or maybe I don't know, NBA draft, we'll see. Terrence in the chat, Rob Wright doesn't get enough talk about in conversation as one of the best point guards in college. He got my respect for top 3 for sure. Terrence, ball knower in the chat. He knows what he's talking about. Jonathan said, I really believe many of UNC's turnovers just came from them not being on the same page, which is expected when you bring in 10 new guys. I think that's part of the same thing with BYU too. It was just ugly across the board. Like, both these teams are going to take time to gel, and this is why it was so important for these teams to have exhibition games like this going forward, because how awful would this have been if this was night 1 of college basketball? Not even, BYU's, this is their second game. Like, imagine that Nebraska game was night 1 for BYU. Like, that would have been terrible. That's when you need to schedule against, Holy Cross and Delaware and these lower major teams, because you got to get your feet wet. You can't open against a UNC, and then because you're going to look like that.
Yeah, absolutely. To put a positive spin on it, maybe the 2 best games you could have asked for BYU, like both within 2 points and coming down to the wire, like that's the experience you want and need. Would we have loved to see BYU go out and dominate? Sure. Like, we probably feel better right now. But looking optimistically, you got some experience now closing out games, going offense, defense, hitting big free throws or missing big free throws.
I was going to say missing big free throws, and Keita had to save the day right there. But yeah, there were those missed free throws, man. I was like, oh no, did we jinx? Because we literally talked about that on the recap show. It's like, oh yeah, they shot really well from the free throw line. Maybe this has changed, and then just clanking free throws in the clutch.
Yeah, I was right behind the hoop, so maybe he caught an eye of me. He was just like, I think it's my fault. I should have dipped at that point.
Nathan said, you look great in vertical, Chase. So vertical.
Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah.
Good man.
Jonathan said, as a UNC fan, I must say Rob Wright is good. I saw halfway through the first half that he would be the engine for this BYU team. Jonathan Dancy, ball knower.
Great take. Here's what I was talking to some people. I think AJ's the best player on the team. I think Rob's the most important player on the team.
Did you miss the opening of this podcast, Chase? That's what I kind of led with, but
that's what you said.
Yeah,
I did miss it. Hey,
that's just who we know. We know we're talking about here.
Exactly. Same page. Wow, we're so in sync this podcast. I mean,
I
the
was
stuff he did tonight, Carter. I mean, you've talked about Rob Wright, but just seeing him in person, I don't want to like throw big things around, but it was Kyrie-ish. Kyrie-ish, the way he was handling the ball. I mean, just so secure, looks absolutely comfortable, and then legitimately breaking dudes down with dribble moves and just getting to the hoop, getting fouled constantly because these guys, they're like, we just can't help but put their hands on him. He just gets in front of them. And then when he does this, everything a smart point guard does when he gets past someone, he gets him on his back, he keeps looking for the center, kicks out to the corner. He's got it all. Gosh, I love watching him play.
He's got such a good feel for the position. And I was saying that too before. When he gets into that little in and out dribble move, the defender is shaking in their boots. And then, like you said, once he gets past them, I thought tonight, I wish he was a tiny bit more selfish because I thought those layups were there and he was always looking for Kate, which is the right play normally. And so I'm not going to fault him for that. But yeah, he's just got such a good feel for it. Rob Wright's awesome. I'm trying to keep up with these chats, man, but they're coming in hot and heavy. Eli said, "What needs to change about BYU's defense to get ready for Yukon? Can BYU's defense handle Yukon?" Not quite yet. The one thing is about like these freshmen that come in, and when you're playing AAU basketball, you're playing against a lot of ISO, just meh offenses and whatnot. There's a reason, Chase, that Lone Peak team went like 40-0 and won a billion games. It's because they actually were running college level offenses, running off ball, going all over the place. And Yukon is better than almost anybody in the country at running stuff off ball and off ball screens and everything like that. And freshmen just coming fresh out of AAU, that's what that kills them. That destroys freshmen on the defensive end. So I expect defensive lapses in that Yukon game on these backdoor cuts and everything. That's going to get solved by conference play and in the middle of conference play, but at the beginning of the season, I still worry about that, but doesn't mean I'm going to be out on BYU if they come out and lose to a Yukon, in early November.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you said. To answer your last question, what needs to be fixed is just the communication. It's the feel of the handoffs. BYU runs a very pro style defense. It's not just, hey, this is my man, stick to my man at all. They love to switch. They love to anticipate the opponent's move by, they call it handing off your man to the next guy, right? So if someone's going to do an Iverson cut, right at the top of the key, you're going to be like, hey, you're taking this guy. I'm now here. And it's that communication and it's knowing what the other guy is doing. It's having one mind defensively. It's an extremely hard place to get to. It takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, knowing your guys super well. Once you get it down, it's the best way to play defense in all of basketball, 100%. But if you don't, you have these lapses, and you talked about it. There was plenty of those tonight. No one is probably more equipped to expose that than the Yukon Huskies, led by Dan Hurley. And so I don't think we see a stellar showing of offense up in Boston, or excuse me, defense up in Boston from the Cougs. Doesn't mean I know I'm not counting them out. And I certainly am not saying that they can't figure it out. This was, after all, exhibition. But if they do not figure that out, these will be ugly games in moments when they play elite offenses with elite motion, elite ball screens, because it was just killing them tonight whenever UNC did it.
Yeah, 100%. Let me hop in the Twitter chat real quick. Nolan Mickelson said it was good to see so many players make big plays down the stretch. Davis was a pleasant surprise. I loved how he came on in the second half because I was nervous about him, how he played the first half in the Nebraska game. He was struggling quite a bit. And then he finally, I think he just needed to see one go in. And then you just saw immediately after, I think it was after that and one he had, his defense just went up a whole nother level right after that. Because I was questioning it. I even texted you. I go, oh, man, like, what are we seeing right now? And then after that, he was locked down from there. So St. Louis Cardinals in the chat, I don't know the full name. The Twitter chat's stupid. It's messed up. But how do you think Baker fits in when he's healthy? I think he plays spot minutes here and there. I don't know. There's just so limited minutes. So I don't know how he honestly fits in, but I think he plays spot minutes. And then there's going to be competition from guys like Russ, Kostic, Baker, who's going to get those limited minutes and shine. I think it's going to be a rotating cast all season.
It's going to be whoever's shooting the best. They need shooters.
If you're not hitting your first 1 or 2 threes that night, you might not see the floor again for those guys. It's a tough place. That's a tough spot to be in as a college basketball player as well. Teams seem to be a lot more balanced tonight as well. 100% agree there. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving with these chats, Chase. How was the game? How would you? Was it fun?
It was fun. It was. Delta Center is a really good place to watch some basketball. I mean, everyone says this when they go in person. They're just so much bigger when you're up by the court, man.
It's crazy every time you watch a game up close. You're like, oh yeah, there's absolutely no space on the court. And then you watch on TV, you're like, oh, there's so much space. But when you're up close, you're like, how do these guys get layups off? Or like, how do they get shots off?
Yeah, and the players are massive and it's physical. And you don't realize, you're like, if this was church ball, like every single play, someone would be crying and calling a foul. Like, it's just so different when you're down there and in person. Shout out Tony Padilla. Thought he called an okay game tonight.
I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest.
I didn't think it was bad.
I'm going to be honest. I thought BYU got some calls tonight over Carolina.
Yeah, I think it was fine. I think it was balanced. One thing I really noticed that really stood out to me, man, like Kevin Young's so active on the bench. We know this from last season, but every time he gets a chance, he's pulling one person aside. He's giving them some sort of, tidbit, whatever he's saying. I don't know, but he just is so involved in what BYU does, right? When they initially come in from timeout, KY and the rest of the coaches, they don't even go in the huddle. Only one assistant goes in and talks about them, and they and then the rest of the coaches meet up outside the huddle, and then they all come together and they give their spiel. Unless it's like obviously a big moment, then KY's right there in the middle right away to tell them what to run or whatever it is that they're lining up. But I mean, the coaching staff's so passionate. I love to see their interactions with the fellas. You really get to see those like intricacies, like who's hanging out on the bench together, who's joking, who looks like they have a good relationship. I'll give you the most like unexpected one. Kostic and Boop. Those guys look close. They look like they're like best friends, believe it or not. I was shocked, but I'm happy to see it. They looked like they were really close really close guys. Morris and McGregor, like Jared McGregor, they looked like they were best buds there on the bench, and you just get to see like the little things what happened in between. It just really, because I was sitting bench side BYU, and it just reinforced to me how stacked that coaching staff is. And the fact that I think Kevin Young can just trust anyone at any given moment to give a piece of advice or to even like sit down in the huddle and tell the boys what's what, and it's going to get it done. And BYU comes out of timeouts, especially when they run plays and sets. That one with like 2.5 minutes to go with the AJ takes the ball down. Rob kind of stands there as a dummy at the free throw line. They do a little, I need to watch it again because it was sweet, but AJ runs some action to the wing, then gets the ball back, and they run a pick and roll with Rob. He goes and gets the layup. Just massive bucket. BYU was one of the best at coming out of timeouts and getting those players off, which just tells me what this coaching staff is doing, how good they are in those huddles. So it was really, I paid a lot of attention during the break to what was going on, and it's fun to notice those things. You can only get them when you're in person. So.
Yeah, jealous. Very jealous. Wish I could have been in attendance tonight. I cannot wait to get to Boston for the Yukon game. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I had something else, but let's move on. I lost my thoughts. So, Jack in the chat, what do you want the rotation to look like for Nova? Word on the street is the Pope will be in attendance. The Pope in Las Vegas in Sin City. We'll see about that. The rotation, I feel like it just needs to be matchup dependent. I watched a little bit of the Nova Virginia exhibition game tonight, and if you thought tonight's game was ugly, go watch Virginia versus Villanova, because that was some ugly basketball over there. Ended up being a close one, but I didn't get to finish it. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to rewatch the tape before we go into our Nova preview. So, and we'll dive into that question. I'm going to table that for our next podcast, Chase. How about that?
Great idea.
Okay.
Yeah, great deflect there.
Nathan in the chat said, I love that we got some close game practice before Thanksgiving. Hallelujah. I think we'll get more of that before Thanksgiving, and like maybe in the Miami game and also the Yukon game as well. But I agree, like that might be something we look back on and go, okay, they actually figured that winning in a close game like that in the exhibition actually mattered. And which kind of disappointed me when we saw them not run any of the starters at the end of the Nebraska game. Like, let's see it, man. Like, give these guys some experience at the end of a game. I know it's on the road and nobody's in the crowd in Lincoln, but I wanted to see these guys at the end of the game. I'm glad we got to see it tonight, even though BYU tried to lose that game at points.
Yeah. Well, like I said before, like, Hubert Davis, KY, where they were pulling out the stops, man. I mean, they really wanted to win the game. I know they want to win every game. I know BYU, they wanted to win Nebraska, but they also, Jared McGregor took the last shot. This was different, and it is huge. Like running the offense, defense out there, being able to just, you can't simulate this type of stuff in practice because your teammates know your plays and it's not real, but this was real, and you had a real crowd who was, real disappointed when some free throws were missed, or real hyped when a big Moo Davis 3 goes in. This stuff's invaluable. So I think overall exhibition is always a win, but especially doing it against the competition that they were doing it against, and to play like North Carolina, Carter, in the Delta Center, and have everything going, like that is awesome stuff. And then to win the game is just the cherry on top, man. It's awesome.
That was my thing going into the game, was you're going to see the name on the other side of the jersey. You're going to see a guy like Caleb Wilson, who's also going to be a top pick in the NBA draft next season, at the end of the season and everything. And you're playing in the Delta Center. You're playing in an NBA arena against a blue blood. You're going to get up for this game. And I'm glad Kevin Young leaned into that with the rotations and actually playing guys when it mattered and trying to figure, okay, we're going to do a regular season rotation tonight. And you guys showed effort tonight too. The ball didn't fall in, but they showed effort. And that's what we wanted to see, man.
Yeah, that's another thing I got to see from the bench. Those dudes were locked in at the end. Everyone from Rob Wright down to Jared McGregor, everyone was, they were trying to hype up. They were, getting loud, clapping, and, things that you do. It sounds like stupid. You think everyone does that, but there's a difference, man. You can tell when guys really care and when they kind of don't. Everyone cared. Everyone cared. I think, this is my honest take. I think there's still some like getting to know each other, both on and off the court, for this basketball team. And I think that that's going to go a long way if they want to be successful this season. Like, it's college basketball, man. The power of friendship is real, whatever you want to call it. Those bonds matter, I think, especially come March when you're trying to make a run. Right now, they don't have it. But I from what I saw, they all want to win. They all have a common goal. And I think they'll get there. I think that leads to some of the defensive lapses because you just maybe don't trust the guy yet. Maybe you don't know him as well. Or on offense, right? When you go to swing it and the guy's not there where you thought he was supposed to be or whatever. Those are the things that you exactly. And those are the things that you just need a bond. You need to get to know your teammates. This is such a new team. They've only been together a few months. But what I saw is that each guy at the end locked in, all smiles when the dub happened, and they all were enjoying it, and I didn't see a bitter face on the bench. I'm not saying we've seen that before, but that's important stuff. It's not there yet. I texted you. I think they may need to lock these guys in a cabin in Yellowstone for a week and just give them like a Scrabble and a Uno deck of cards and see what they can do with themselves. I think that would go a long way. But you gotta bond. It needs to happen, and I think it will. It's just not there yet.
Some are saying they might do like an Aaron Rodgers ayahuasca, thing and do a document. I'm just kidding. Let's move on. Jack said, I feel like AJ DeBance is the best player on the team, but Rob Wright is the most important player on the team. We should just have that as a quote card for our header on Twitter now.
He's got a point though.
I think he might be screwing with us, Chase.
I know. I'm
okay, just making sure. Nathan said, I can see the headlines. Famed Twitch streamer Rob Wright III is shockingly good at basketball. Shout out Rob Wright. Kevin in the chat. Shout out Kevin Smith. I think BYU gave up rebound. I can't read. Maybe I'm having a stroke right now, fellas. Rebounds around the rim was put back. Okay, hold up. Kevin. You're killing me here, Kevin. I'm dying here. It's after midnight. You're killing me. We're just not as strong inside as we need to be against bigger teams. Yes and no. I think that'll come over the season. I think the physicality will ramp up, and I'm not necessarily worried about that. I think Carolina's actually a really strong team underneath with Caleb Wilson and Stevenson and Visar. And
Yeah,
they're
I got a long, dude. I got to credit UNC's front court. I think I already did a little bit. I thought they were really good. Also, like tough to get in there and score on those guys. They're huge. Like
Yeah.
the rim protection was great. And what teams can do against BYU and what Visar did the entire game, he didn't have to leave the paint because K-Bakeda is not a threat. And so, like when Rob would get in, it was an obvious. He just had to pass it. I think obviously rebound, like the effort was there, and Boop, especially that dude rebounds like his life depends on it. I love watching him do it. I think there was also just some unlucky bounces. I think some guys who tip balls and they should have. I think some guys need to work on their hands, and I think also that comes with just as the season gets along, because I thought there were some mishandled balls, just the whole game. So, but rebounding, I always agree. You can always rebound better, but I didn't think it was necessarily awful tonight.
Don't worry, Chase. I'm wearing my Cal suit to Boston. BYU will win. Shout out, Jack.
Man, Jack, I wish I could be there with you, brother.
AJ wasn't within a foot of touching the guy on that 3-point foul they called. That was a bad call. That was a bad call. I know you were in the building, Chase, but on TV it was clear that was a rough call. But I didn't care since it was an exhibition, and I also kind of wanted Carolina to make it close, and I wanted to see BYU have to win it with a last shot or ice some free throws. I was kind of like, all right, this might be a good thing, to be honest.
I mean, it saved any sort of anything happening in that game, because he absolutely airballed it, and it was going to be BYU ball. And it would have been over. But
we can't get fined for talking about refs, right?
No. What?
Yeah. So, Padilla, man. Tony Padilla. Don't worry. He highest rated ref in college basketball.
AJ, sorry.
They all went to the NBA YoungBoy concert together. If that isn't bonding, I don't know what.
Did they invite Jared McGregor and Tyler Russ and Dawson Baker? That's what I'm talking about.
Kevin said, I'm also hoping Bosco finds a more efficient offensive identity this year. Love his energy. He can almost single-handedly shoot us out of a game. Yeah, his game, man, it's so funky with Boscovich, because like at times you're like, dude, this guy's awesome. And then there's other times you go, what is this guy doing? Like, is he just not a good 3-point shooter? It's so hot and cold with him, and I feel like he's never, ever been able to truly find a rhythm in games. And maybe that's just because he's always playing spot minutes here and there, but he is a weird player to dissect.
He is. He's like a unicorn in like the like straight up just weird sense. I thought he played really good. I actually really liked his minutes. He, to me, I feel like he really knows where he's supposed to be on the court. I really love his basketball IQ, and he poses that threat from the 3-point line that would have had to draw Visar at. And Rob had a much easier time getting in the paint when Bosco was in, as opposed to Keita. There's things you sacrifice, obviously, on the other end with that. But I did think there was solid one-on-one defense with Bosco. I thought that like he really matched up pretty well, like against Caleb Wilson. Again, that dude's just tough and was making like tough buckets, but they were tough, because I thought in those minutes that Bosco played well. I was really he seemed like a calming presence, and that I think that comes from like he's been on the team before. He played all of last year. Let's not forget he had massive moments in the season, and so I think he brings, dare I say, a veteran presence, even though it's only the second year. But in college basketball, 2 years, that's veteran presence. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. So I thought he brought a calming veteran kind of presence to the team tonight. And again, his IQ, he's the one who really understands where he's supposed to be at all times. That's what I noticed most tonight.
Shout out Sam in the chat. BYU wins because it's unofficial. Tony Padilla keeps the upper hand.
We can't let Padilla win.
No, Padilla always wins, dude. Padilla lives rent free in our heads, man. He just does.
Padilla.
Shout Nathan in the chat, Boop is as fun to watch as Richie was his sophomore year. Both underrated dogs with huge potential. Absolutely, especially they're such glue guys too. On top of it, oh Jack, Jack.
Can't forget. Sorry, real quick on him, Boop. Then we'll read the Jack. 1 for 1 from 3, and that was a wet ball, man. Like
that was a beautiful shot.
We said in the offseason, because we used to watch him, Carter, in warmups. He'd be sometimes the only one out there because he obviously was redshirt and whatever. He would just shoot and shoot and shoot. He's got a beautiful stroke, and if that could be a consistent thing, him knocking down that corner three, he might. I mean, watch out. He's going to take a lot of minutes from some guys.
Regardless, he's going to play a lot of minutes on this team this season.
Yeah.
And there's going to be games where he might even start at times, and they run a big lineup with like AJ, Hadim, and then Kaba as well. Like, just especially if he's able to stretch the floor like that, like you were saying. 100% agree. Jack in the chat said, "Nah, they invited Richie, but he went to the Laney concert instead." That's so good.
That's good.
That's so good. We talked a lot about BYU. I do want to touch on Carolina a little bit more.
This is a Carolina podcast?
No, it's not a Carolina podcast, but I do want to touch on Carolina because I do think there's some Carolina fans listening. And there were some Carolina fans at the Delta Center tonight. I could see it on TV.
There was a good amount.
My opinion on them necessarily hasn't changed going into this season. I still feel like they're going to be kind of a bubble team in the NCAA tournament. I don't think they're going to reach, a 4 or 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. I think they're going to be right back where they were last season. I think things will be a little more stable and consistent for this Carolina team going forward, but the point guard play is just such an issue. And I know I said that before, but it is going to be a real problem. It just depends on what you're getting out of Bogovac. That's going to be the ceiling with this team. Caleb Wilson, I think we know who he is, what he can do. Visar is obviously solid. He's a big man, but you need that guard to take you to that next level, that dynamic guard that can shoot and do all these things and run an offense. Unless if Luka Bogovac is Luka Doncic, then now we're talking about a different game. But other than that, there were a lot of things about Carolina I liked tonight that were positive, but also I just still think they have a fairly low ceiling for this season. How do you feel after seeing them in person?
The backcourt is a problem, massive problem. I mean, if there's UNC fans listening, they'd have to agree with me. I would be. I don't know why they wouldn't. As a BYU fan, they're rooting for the Cougars. Not a single one of them scared me. Trimble in the fast break, I thought, and him getting downhill, that was like, okay, but that's it from that squad. Not a single guard other than him really struck any sort of fear into my heart. I thought the shot selection was also iffy with some of those guys, and it was meaningless dribbles for like a lot of the time. Yeah. And so I just couldn't, if I'm a UNC fan going forward, I mean, you've hammered it home. You got to have a point guard. You got to have some sort of shot creation from the outside, and you got to be able to trust those guys in big moments. And look, they ran the play for Trimble at the end. I was shocked. I thought for sure that ball was going to go to Caleb Wilson with 5 seconds left and a chance to tie it or win it. I thought it was a good play call. Celtics run that all the time to Tatum, and he got downhill and, obviously didn't finish. I thought it was good defense.
Well, they run that all the time for Tatum, but then Trimble didn't go do a little dance step back, No,
Tatum gets downhill. I'll show you the highlights later.
Oh, yeah.
But
3 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, 3 minutes left in the game. Then it's a step back three. But I think UNC going forward, man. I think they could beat anyone in the ACC, but they could also lose to just about anyone in that conference. It just is all about the backcourt for me. I really like the front court. I think they built a solid foundation there with those guys. I think they're also deep at the position. The backcourt needs help, and you got to make threes in college basketball. I mean, I don't think tonight was just a necessarily bad shooting night. I think they also just lack the firepower to do it, and not a single one even looked good off the hand. I know they made like a few, but they got to figure it out. Hopefully for them, Luka is that guy to knock down threes. But if not, I think it's another, like you said, fringe NCAA tournament team.
Yeah. Last thing on UNC, and then I want to go back to BYU. it's just so funny how they overcorrected so hard with their roster construction this offseason, where the last season they had a surplus of dynamic guards and then absolutely zero front court at all. And then coming into this season, they went super hard on length and size in the front court, and then the back court is just like, it looks like the Will Smith scene where he's just alone in the house. Like, where is everybody? There's no one here. So Carolina, fun game tonight for them and everything. But let me ask you this. Didn't you feel like, did you ever kind of fear BYU was actually going to lose that game? Because I never felt like BYU I never really felt like BYU was going to lose that game, to be honest. I felt like they were always in control of that one. And I wasn't necessarily scared of this Carolina team.
Yeah, I agree. And from an objective perspective, there's not a second I thought Carolina was better than BYU. And I know this is a BYU podcast, and I'm not trying to be rude, but like, they just had a better team. They just had more talent. There's a chance Carolina could have won. But to your point, like, none of those guys scared me except for Wilson and then Visar. Whenever I was like, I guess he's making it because he's just making all of them. But other than that, no one else struck fear into my heart.
Yeah, there were times in the game with BYU where we talked about this earlier. Once again, I keep saying that on this podcast, but where nobody could string together 2 to 3 good possessions in a row. It was just herky jerky. Nothing was flowing. And then, I mean, that's a lack of chemistry, lack of playing together, kind of nerves a little bit for, first day of school kind of vibes on the basketball court. But yeah, I thought BYU should have won by more, to be honest, in this game too, where it felt like they let Carolina hang with them rather than BYU had every chance to pull away in that game, especially with the way Carolina was shooting. But on top of that, BYU also decided, hey, we're going to shoot 20% from three.
Yeah, I think in a way BYU got lucky. In a way Carolina got lucky. If Richie Saunders is even is just normal, BYU wins by double digits. If they shoot half of their percentage, then they win by double digits. At the same time, Carolina missed a lot of shots too, so it goes both ways. But also, these exhibitions are so weird, and it's hard to put a lot of stock into it. This one was played; it had the vibe of a real game, so I think maybe you can lean a little bit more into the result. But at the same time, if this is played in Provo, Carter, I think BYU has a substantial win. But it is what it is, man. NBA core, everything that we already talked about. But you found a way to win, and that's what matters. And having the will to do it, and getting the stops you need, right, in big moments, and then hitting the shots you need in big moments. And every guy who played ended up stepping up in a way that led to that win. It was fun to watch, these moments. I think someone mentioned it in the chat. It was really cool to see Moo get fired up, right, when he hits the three, when he gets that and one. Really cool for Mboop to get fired up. He grabs a massive offensive board off of his free throw, right, puts it back in, hits a corner three. Awesome to see Bosco play some good defense, hit a three as well. There's some awesome, fun, lovable guys on this team, and also super talented. There's so much talent, so little ball to share, but they'll figure it out. They have the potential to beat a team like Carolina, who, by the way, is a ranked team. They have good players, 5-star talent. They're better than them, and I think that's important.
Yeah, I thought that was clear tonight, to be honest. And once again, I know this is a BYU podcast, and I'm not trying to be insanely biased, but I know it's going to come across that way. It's just what it was. And also, I think a key stat with that tonight too is time leading, 31:52 out of 40 minutes, and then you see time tied, 5:42 or 2:26. They were only trailing 5 minutes in this game at that point, and I'm sure a lot of those came in. They got that lead for a minute in the second half, and then it was at the beginning of the game as well. So I thought BYU was fairly in control tonight. Just let them back in there and just kept letting them hang around. That's one thing where we would see that at points last season where it's like, I want to see BYU just, put teams away, and that's going to happen over time. But that's one thing. Just another thing to keep your eye on going forward. But much happier with this preseason game tonight. Even if BYU lost, I was much happier because we actually saw BYU try in this game.
Yeah, the effort defensively was a huge plus. Not perfect. We already talked about what needs to be fixed. But the effort was just night and day difference from that Nebraska game a week ago. Carter, the largest run being 5-0 is crazy. Crazy. The biggest run, and I don't think Carolina beat that.
But that proves my point exactly. Was nobody could string together 3 possessions in a row. Nobody.
That's 2 shots. That's the longest run. That's crazy.
That was a 3-pointer, and then you got a layup. That was it.
It's wild.
It's crazy. Let's look at Carolina's longest run. What do you think it is? I bet it's the exact same.
There's a chance it might be 6, but there's no shot they hit 2 threes in a row. Maybe on those fast breaks.
8-0. They got an
8-0?
Wow. Carolina should have won this game, Chase. Caleb Wilson, man.
They had the bigger run by far.
I mean, I was so impressed with him tonight. Carolina fans should be very, very excited. Kyan Evans, I was pretty disappointed in, to be honest, but not a BYU or not a Carolina podcast. So, any other thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I know this is a little bit ghetto, but thanks for letting me hop on.
Where are you right now?
I'm in my hotel room.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. I love it. I don't know why this layout's being weird, but anyhow, it doesn't matter. We're about to wrap up anyways. Any last chats? Hop in real quick. Real quick, Chase. Does BYU win in football tomorrow?
Oh, this is the ultimate letdown spot. Ultimate. Just beat your rival. You're ranked 11, heading into a good Iowa State team. But man, on paper, BYU's got them, got them dead to rights, dude. I mean, Iowa State does not defend the run well. I think that they can get to Becht, make him inaccurate on defense. Like on paper, BYU
call it like it is. It's a letdown spot, and you see the Vegas line. You see, wait, why is Iowa State favored by 3.5 in this game, 2.5, whatever the line is? Why is Iowa State favored in this game? They're coming off back-to-back losses. BYU's coming off a huge win in the Holy War. Everybody in the world was watching. I mean, it's the perfect letdown spot, Chase. But I don't know. I've been going back and forth all week on it. I still haven't made up my mind.
I feel inclined to be like, I think they lose. But then they could win. I would not be. They go and win. I'd be like, why did I not think they were going to win? They match up great with Iowa State. They're better than them.
You know what the narrative I'm trying to push this season, especially if they win this Iowa State game, I'm running with it full speed. This is TCU. This is the 2023 TCU Horned Frogs.
It's a great narrative.
TCU, was underdogs in all these games, and they should have lost like 6 games that season. They got so lucky, and they were winning wild games at the end of wild games in the Big 12 and everything. And somehow, some way, they just ended up making it all the way to the national title game. I think I might run with that narrative, especially if BYU wins this one against Iowa State, because once again, classic letdown spot. Very nervous for tomorrow.
Tons of parallels, and that was 2022 TCU, but it doesn't really matter.
Title game was in 2023. My bad.
I would love to see BYU not have a 1-possession game. Like, I think I'm a little like, it's fun, it's cool. Like, you pull them out, you win, it's exciting. I'm ready for something a little less stressful. I'm ready for just like kind of enjoy and like know by the third quarter that things are going to be okay. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, it is too much to ask. Sam in the chat said, I'm totally convinced Vegas sets the lines for BYU games the way they do because BYU fans don't bet like other fans do.
Hold on a sec. You might have a point.
We need someone much smarter than us, Chase, to dive into that and do like a 10-minute YouTube video on it for us.
Yes, please. If you're smarter than us and you're listening to this,
yeah,
which a lot of you are.
Yeah, sure. Most people are, Chase. Most people are smarter than this podcast.
We're comms major.
Sports media major, baby. You can see the degree. I got a degree. That's all that matters. We made it. We made it out alive. Shout out Jeff Call. He's probably awake right now after the Dodgers lost and watching this.
Oh yeah, suck it, Jeff.
I hope he sees this. Anyhow, all right, that does it from us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I can't believe if you're on the East Coast, shout out. It's after midnight. There's going to be a heck of a lot more of these. If you've looked at the broadcast schedule, man, we might need to get this podcast sponsored by Red Bull or some energy drink company because I'm going to be needing them after all of these games, and I'm going to be up super late, but I can't wait. This is going to be unbelievable this season. So excited. I'm ready to see some real games. I'm ready to see actual records on the calendar, put up some wins. I can't wait. Monday, November 3rd against Villanova. We will be live after that game. We'll also get a preview show in later this week. Since the game's on Monday, we'll get a preview show later this week. We might have an interview coming out for you guys this week as well. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe on the YouTube channel, Field of 68 Podcast Network, or if you're listening on audio, Spotify, wherever you're listening right now, hit the follow, subscribe button, whatever it's called, 5-star review. You know the drill. Help us out. It's good. Let's blow this thing up. This is gonna be such a fun season. And Chase, anything else?
Love y'all. Appreciate y'all hopping in the chat. Go Cooch.